Holy crap. I don't know who the hell we think we are when we do something like that.
What's up, fight fans? I'm Brett Cagle, that's Eddie Law, and we're back with the UFC Fight Night this weekend, and we'll also be previewing UFC 316 from Newark, New Jersey. Supposed to be joining us today is Dylan Napoleone. I'll let you guys know if I hear from him. He'll pop in whenever he can. But me and Eddie will be breaking down the card this week and going over any news that has came up since our last episode. Eddie, what do you think about the fight card that we have coming up this week? Do you want to talk about it first, or do you want to jump right into the UFC 316 pay-per-view?
It's Maycee Barber and Erin Blanchfield, okay? If I wanted a more bland media day, I'd be fuck. I'm not hating on them. Okay? But last time Erin Blanchfield was I covered the Erin Blanchfield card. In the media day and in the post-fight, I'm just like, why are we asking questions? She's not going to answer anything.
Kind of one word in you guys. And was that the Manon Farrow fight?
It's every fight. She's never given more than a one-word answer. I mean, she just doesn't care. And I get it, dude. A lot of people don't want to be doing media, don't want to be media trained. All good, man. Just stick with it. It just anytime that Blanchfield fights, I'm just like, I'll watch the fight. I don't care to watch the interviews.
I feel like Erin's one of those girls who kind of speaks with her actions rather than, her mouth. But I really do like this fight this weekend. Two young girls, only 2 losses apiece. 14 wins for Blanchfield and, some wins there for Barber as well. Great record for both of these two women. And a very interesting stylistic matchup, between two girls who are going to be moving on into, contention here with a win. So,
wins,
who do you like? We'll start with the card this week, and then we'll on the back end of the show kind of wrap with the UFC 316 pay-per-view. Cool. But who do you like in this fight in the main event between Erin Blanchfield and Maycee Barber? I think that Erin's kind of competed well against better competition like Rose Namajunas. That loss to Manon Farrow, her only other loss was to Tracy Cortez. So she's been losing to good girls, and she's also beat some really good girls on this run as well, including former champions like Rose Namajunas. Who do you like in this one? And do you think Maycee Barber might have an advantage because of her size? Blanchfield, it might be difficult for her to get her to the ground.
No. I think Erin Blanchfield should make this rather easy. I'm not dissing Barber. I just think Blanchfield's that much better. Because Blanchfield isn't going to play with you. She's not going to test you. She's going to do – Blanchfield goes in with this whole – I know what I do, and I'm going to do what I do. And then she goes and does the shit. She never goes in there like, oh, I'm going to try and out-strike a striker. I'm going to try and out-jiu-jitsu a jiu-jitsu ace. I'm going to try – no. She goes in there, I'm going to wrestle you down. I'm going to take you down, and I'm going to beat you up on the ground. That's what I want to do. That's what I've always done. That's what I'm going to keep doing. And I think that's what's going to happen this weekend. I'm not saying Barber can't win. I'm saying Blanchfield's that much better than Barber, and I think she's going to make it look oddly easy, if not a little boring, if I'm completely honest.
What are the odds for this one, Eddie? If you scroll down there, is it pretty close?
No.
I really like that for Blanchfield, even though that it is 2-1. I think that she's just a little bit more talented, a little bit better on the ground. When you saw her against Molly McCann, another good athlete, now obviously Maycee Barber is more skilled, more talented than maybe Molly McCann is. But at the point in time that Erin Blanchfield fought Molly McCann, she was really on a win streak and on a rise, and she really put her on the ground and took away all offense that Molly had and landed like 200 ground strikes. And Molly didn't really do anything, ended up getting her in the crucifix position there and finishing the fight. But I just think Blanchfield is a little bit too technically sound for Barber this weekend. And if I was a betting man, I'd probably put my money on Erin Blanchfield by decision.
I agree with that. It'll be a decision. It won't be any kind of finish whatsoever. And if you look at the strength of schedules, what they call last 4, for Barber, Jessica I, come on, Andrea KGB Lee, about 15 years too late, Amanda Hebus, all right, solid, and Caitlin Chikagin, former Chikagin, now Sarah Minara,
a little bit past the over the hill.
Although now look at Erin Blanchfield last 4, okay, and she's 3-1 in her last 4, okay. Jessica Andrade, former champion. Tyler Santos could have been a champion in two different promotions. Manon Farrow just fought for the title. Rose Namajunas, 2-time champion. It's not the same thing. Nowhere near it. So the experience factor goes in there. The schedule goes in there. And Maycee Barber hasn't fought in a month of Sundays, as my brother Fred Kirby likes to say. She ain't fought since March of last year. We're over a year. And
that's a great point. I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. There might be ring rust for Barber coming back into this one, facing the toughest competition that she's had yet.
And depending on what the reason was that the last fight got canceled, I think she had a fight scheduled with Rose, and Barber withdrew, and depending on what the injury was, and I think I want to say it was a knee injury. I don't just off the top of my head. I'm not 100% sure on that. But Macy, you know, depending on what the reason was, has she recovered from that? You know, how she looks. There's too many questions. It's a really tough fight for her to take on the way back, but it's a hard fight to turn down for the same point you made when we started talking about this. Is the winner is that much closer to a title?
Yeah, and both these girls are less than 30 years of age and have you know, a long career left in front of them. Even a loss to one of these two this weekend, it doesn't mean the end of the road. They might have title contention down the line. But an interesting main event here between two very talented women's fighters in the flyweight division. But moving down the card, Eddie, I was kind of surprised this wasn't the main event. A very interesting and compelling 155-pound bout between perennial contender Mateusz Gamrot, 24-3, taking on Ludwig Klein, 23-4. These guys have great records. Very technical striker is Ludwig Klein. I don't know how he's going to handle the grappling of Gamrot this weekend. Also, you know, Gamrot, if you look at it here, 3 inches taller. When you see him struggle, he struggled against guys that are longer than him. He's lost to Dan Hooker, lost to Jalen Turner, guys like that, or struggled with Jalen Turner. You know, I think that length at 155 pounds really plays a big factor for Gamrot when he starts moving up the rankings. But is Ludwig Klein good enough to keep the fight standing? Because if he can keep this on the feet, I think that he's going to be the more technical fighter and going to be able to put volume on Gamrot. Gamrot has not looked good when he's not been able to get these fights to the ground. The striking skills, it doesn't look like he's been able to put combinations together, kind of like some other guys on the feet. I got Ludwig Klein here if it stays standing, but I think that Mateusz Gamrot is going to be able to get him to the ground here at least twice. I'm going to go with a decision victory for Gamrot. What do you think, Eddie? I wouldn't be surprised if Klein did get a TKO victory, though, at some point.
Gamrot's the reason this fight's not the main event. Honestly, right? You're already at the apex. You really want to put that dude on the main event? No offense to anybody that likes, you know, wet naps or wet blankets, but Gamrot's a wet blanket. There's a reason he didn't get the who pulled out of the last fight. They were like, he was like, motherfucker, BSD, Benoit Saint-Denis. Yeah. So remember, BSD's opponent fell out, and he wanted to stay on the card, and Gamrot's like, "Oh, he turned the fight against me down because you're a wet blanket, my boy. You are not even like, you're not fun to watch or fight, but the skills are there. He can pull it off." And I think he will. He'll get a decision victory, and talking about how he should be next with the title. He won't get it, and he'll just continue complaining. Yeah,
I think the 3 rounds really favors Gamrot's style. But like 100%. You were saying, when he gets the fight to the ground, it's not like we're seeing Tito Ortiz ground and pound, or we're seeing some type of submission game from him. He's not really finishing fights. And that is a problem when you're trying to be a star in main event and get to 5-round fights. But his cardio, if this was 5 rounds, he has some of the best cardio in the division as well. So he kind of is one of those decision fighters that his skill set translates to, you know, the fights going longer later, and it helps him. But I'm going to go with him this weekend just because of size. If Klein was a little bit bigger and I had more confidence that he could take, stop the takedown, I'd go with Ludwig Klein. But I think this is actually going to be a pretty good fight. And there's going to be some resistance here from Gamrot trying to get the fight to the ground. Klein's very tricky. He's got good knees and elbows, very fast twitch, and his volume is good with his striking as well. So I think this is going to be a highly entertaining one, but Gamrot probably stifles the offense of Klein and takes him down.
Yeah, here's my thing with Klein. If I'm Klein, I'm like, how many rounds is this? 3 rounds? Shit, yeah, I'm a blitz this dude. I'm a blitz like a motherfucker, dude. I'm going in. I'm trying to take his head off. That's what I do. Right, because he has the opportunity to take on the number seven ranked lightweight in the world, right? Number 7. Yep. Number 7 lightweight in the world. He doesn't have a ranking. If he goes in there and starches this dude, he's ranked. He's 100% top 13, right? So
I believe Ludwig Klein has not lost since 2021, and he's on something of like a 7-fight win streak. So
yeah,
he's got good names on his resume as well, like Bahamondes, but not necessarily that top level grappler like Gamrot that he's been able to overcome yet.
And that's why I think like he needs to come out and blitz him. Just go balls out. Do not let this man get a chance to get your timing down and everything and get a takedown. No leg kicks. Just go in with hands, uppercuts. If you even think he's about to sniff your crotch, throw a fucking flying knee immediately. You got to do something to
he's
make.
One of those
Gamrot
guys that do
him.
Throw him though. Like he's creative.
He's got to make Gamrot respect him, right? Yeah. He has to. So Honestly, it's the fight that I'm more intrigued about. Just on that, if Klein can, like you said earlier, if Klein can stop or at least slow the takedowns down, he's got a real good chance he can get a knockout. If he gets taken down over and over again, we're just gonna, it's gonna be the beer run at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree 100%. We kind of have the same idea for this one. Quickly before we move on, what do they have the odds at on this fight?
Oh wow,
very close fight here. Was Gamrot just hurt? Is there a reason the odds makers have this one as even as it is?
I don't think so. Gamrot, he's coming off. Lost to Dan Hooker by split in August. Yeah, but it means nothing. That was a close.
I know the length is what he struggles with, and he's bigger in this one.
Yeah, and he's bigger, so I don't understand. Like, he should be a bigger favorite in my opinion, but we'll see. Mm-hmm. That's interesting though, but that might be worth putting something on Klein here. We'll see.
Yeah. Very interesting, and according to the odds makers, a very competitive fight. But moving down the card, Eddie, I am really interested in your opinion on this one. I don't know much about Bruno Lopez. I've seen him fight a couple times here. He's a newcomer to the UFC. He's got some big knockouts in Jungle Fight in down there in the Brazilian promotions that are the feeder leagues to the UFC. But he's taking on a former professional kickboxer in Dustin Jacoby, who just took out Vitor Petrino. Now, Jacoby did get knocked out brutally by Dominic Reyes and was on a losing streak before that victory over Petrino. But I don't know if Bruno Lopez has what it takes to finish Jacoby on the feet. Jacoby is 38 years old. He's a tremendous athlete at 6'3", fast twitch. He was a college quarterback. So he is a top-level athlete, and his body is still holding up. But I don't know if Bruno Lopez necessarily has the skills to put Dustin Jacoby down and knock him out. When you look at the guys who've been able to finish Dustin Jacoby, they're the cream of the crop. Alex Pereira, Dominic Reyes, guys like that. Where do you see this one going? And do you think maybe Dustin Jacoby can have a veteran experienced performance here and grind out a victory?
I like Dustin in this one because of the veteran presence, right? I mean, it took Bruno 2 Contender Series fights to get into the UFC. The first one, he got knocked out by Brenson Ribeiro. Thank you. Yeah, him. So he got knocked out by him in the first Contender Series, and it was nasty. Okay, and then he comes back, wins, crying, puts the hat on, super happy, great. Now he's got a legitimate, experienced dog in Jacoby. Say what you want about Dustin Jacoby. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna pull up his record real quick. His he's 2-3 in his last 5. Mm-hmm. But he knocked out Vitor Petrino, got knocked out by Dominic Reyes, got decision by Alonzo Menifield, knocked out Kennedy and Nzechukwu, and got decision by Azmat Murzakanov. Oh, and then he split Khalil Roundtree. He didn't get knocked out. It didn't go unanimous.
Azmat's still undefeated, isn't he?
There you go. So he's way more experienced than Bruno. Bruno's gonna come in thinking like, oh, I'm hot shit. I feel like I'm bigger. I'm probably stronger. Blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. Dustin Jacoby has that grit, has that experience. He's gonna be able to put it on Bruno, and I don't think it'll be an easy fight for either one. I got Dustin by decision, but I like Dustin in this one.
Yeah, Bruno Lopez really to me is kind of a brawler, right? Like he comes at you, he's aggressive. I went back and was looking at his record, and I believe he had a knockout over Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop, in RoboCop's first professional fight.
Oh, sure.
So back in Jungle Fight. So, I mean, he can get guys out of there, but I think he's going to come forward kind of aggressive and leave himself open and get caught by a straight punch from Jacoby. I got Dustin Jacoby in this one by knockout, Eddie. I'm going to go knockout in the second round.
I got you. I got decision. I got Dustin by decision. I'm trying to find. There's no odds on this one, so I'm pulling up. Okay, I got DraftKings has Dustin Jacoby minus 198, Bruno Lopez plus 164, so it's still close.
Yeah, pretty even fights, honestly, for the main card.
Overall, it's pretty even. Yeah, but that's like I got Jacoby decision. Should be pretty.
Yeah, I like the speed and the experience of Jacoby. You got him decision. I've got him by knockout, but
there you
go. You never know. But here's a guy in Zachary Reese in the 185-pound division taking on Dusko Trdojevic. Dusko's a guy who's I've seen finished multiple times throughout his career, right? I don't know necessarily how he's still sticking around in the promotion. All due respect, he's had great performances as well, but he's 12-5. That's not necessarily a record that's knocking the doors off anybody who's watching casually. But Zachary Reese, since getting knocked out by Cody Brundage, has looked good. He's a good athlete, 6'4". He's very fast. He's somebody who I think has high potential in the future, moving up in the 185-pound division and maybe even later in his career with his frame if he puts muscle on at 205. I think this is going to be an easy You know, I think this is going to be a really easy path to victory for Zachary Reese. I think he's more athletic, and he's going to get this one done standing. If he's having trouble on the feet, you know, he's a great athlete and he's bigger than Dusko. He could probably take this fight to the ground as well. I don't really see an area where I think Zachary Reese is lacking compared to Dusko.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, since that loss to Cody Brundage, where he got kind of fluke slammed, knocked out while going for a triangle, he's looked really good in his last couple of fights. So I'm going to go with Zachary Reese. I don't necessarily know what his potential is, but I think we'll learn a lot about that this weekend.
So I would normally go with you on that, right? Except Zach's coming in with making his was his 5th UFC fight.
Yeah.
Right. So it's his 5th UFC fight. He lost to Cody Brundage. He beat Jose Medina, Julian Marquez, lost to Asmat Bakoyev, right? Yeah. Dusko is experienced, right? He's got a lot of experience. I'm with you. I have no idea he's hung around, other than the fight style is way more exciting than a lot of other fighters. And you know, he's been fighting mostly at the Apex. I think he has like 1 pay-per-view fight, maybe 2. I'm not sure, but he's fun guy to watch. Right? That's about as far as I put it. Now the thing about Dusko changed camps, and the way he phrased it was really odd. He said in his media day today, he said that he lost his team during his last fight camp, whatever that means. He did lose his fight too, but he lost his team. He went over to, I can't even pronounce the name. I had to Google the shit out of it just to find the name of the coach in the gym. But he's changed teams. I want to see what it looks like now. This is the reason why I give Zach Reese a chance. Because, you know, in transition, when you're changing things, you're learning more new things, and you're trying to figure out how to implement them. It's hard to do without doing it in a fight. Easy to do in practice. No problem, right? Cool. Hey, we train this, add this. Cool. In a fight, when a guy's been studying all your old fights, like, how do you mix that up, right? So that first round to me is going to be very telling of what we should expect from Todorovic. And that's why I give Zach Reese a chance. I'm pulling for Dusko here by decision in a close fight, but it's just a hard one to really like go, you know.
That's a great point, because Dusko's back might be against the wall, right? I just mentioned how's he still sticking around. If he goes out there and Zach Reese puts him away, he might not be sticking around very much longer, right? So maybe that's along with the camp, maybe that revitalizes him and gives him a renewed sense of energy coming into this one. I could see an upset, but I'm just going to take the 6'4" frame and athletic ability of Zach Reese, and I think that he's a pretty good athlete. But you know, he has stumbled so far in his career twice already, so we'll have to see. Yeah,
if Reese with this fight, we'll see Dusko in PFL probably.
Are you going to this one this weekend?
No, sir. Nope. No. I pick and choose when I do the Apex ones. Yeah, it's got to be because I drive up there in the morning and then I drive right back up to the card. I mean, you're talking, I leave here like at 7 and I get home like at 2-3 in the morning. I'm not. It's got to be a good card. I'm not saying it's a terrible card, but it's not a good card.
And I was looking, fight fans, and if we get through this weekend and get through this card, the cards after this are just fantastic, right?
It's getting real good.
After pay-per-view. You know, banging fight night headliners. We've got Usman and Buckley and all these guys in the fight nights that are looking great as well. So a good schedule for the back half of 2025 coming from the UFC after this weekend.
Yeah, there you go. No, it's going to be fun.
Is there another fight here on the prelims that you want to talk about? I was interested a little bit in the Kurt Holloway fight versus Jordan Levitt. You know, I don't know what Jordan Levitt's going to look like since coming back. He's not necessarily a finisher to me. I know he had that slam knockout that was really nice when a guy like jumped on him, and it was a one of the weirdest knockouts you'll see slam knockout wise. But you know, he's had some good highlights, but he lost to Paddy Pimblett. That wasn't. I mean, Paddy's a great fighter, no doubt about it, but he lost pretty bad to Paddy in that contest. Kurt's as tough as they come. If Jordan can't get it to the ground and use his grappling, I think Kurt's going to put hands on him and kind of out rough and out tough him.
I hate to put it this way. This is a who cares fight because neither one of these guys gains anything with a win. They both lose a lot with a loss. It's kind of how it is. Kurt, you know, having been in the spot before, Jordan has been I think, fairly inactive, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pulling up his record right now as we speak, but you know, he's a funky guy. He's funny. He's fun to watch, but he's coming off a loss against Chase Hooper. Hasn't fought in the UFC since 2023, November, for whatever reason. He got choked up by Chase Hooper, went over to Karate Combat to do a grappling match, got decision there, got his fight against he's supposed to fight in February.
They do grappling in Karate Combat?
They do everything, dude. President Austin's
What
trying
the world?
he's trying to do everything, bro. They're throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. You know what I mean? Karate combat's fun, but if you notice,
It is.
their events are at once every 3-4 months. I mean,
Yeah.
PFL is more, well, not all the time, but he's more active than that.
Yeah.
So,
PFL's coming back here too. And we've got some interviews actually with some PFL fighters coming up on Friday, Fight Fans. So ahead of that Nashville card, we're going to be talking to Thad Jean, half of the main event in that Nashville card. And we'll also catch up with Logan Storley as well. So look for those interviews here in the coming days on Cageside Press social media platforms. Eddie, let's get into the news from last week. We had some fight announcements, some good, some that I want to get your reaction to, kind of see what you thought of them. We'll start with, the lower level announcements and move our way up here. Cody Garbrandt is going to take on Barcelos in a matchup of aging veterans. What do you think about that contest? As a Garbrandt fan, I've appreciated his whole career. When he beat Dominic Cruz, I thought that was the best bantamweight fighter I had ever seen that night. That sole performance from Garbrandt. Garbrandt on that night against Dominic Cruz, I thought was a complete fighter. Obviously, the fights to TJ Dillashaw took a toll on his career, but doesn't have to worry about punching power with Ronnie Barcelos, somebody who wants to take the fight to the ground. And I actually think that Cody Garbrandt, if he comes in at the good camp, could probably score a finish victory in that one.
How many Barcelos?
Yeah.
38-year-old? How many Barcelos?
Yeah.
Against 33-year-old Cody Garbrandt, who may as well be 38?
Yeah.
My guy, what are we fucking doing? What are we doing here? Okay? Again, give Cody. You know what? I take it back. This is a great matchup for Cody. I take it back. I was going to give Cody someone that should be on his level. No, I get it. He needs to get a win on here because I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's coming off a loss, right? Yeah. Figgy choked him out way back in April last year at the UFC 300. Yeah. So, and the biggest thing with Garbrandt is the constant cancellations. Like, you know what I mean? Whether he's injured or I think he's been injured a ton of times. I think he was supposed to fight Julio Arce. Arce withdrew that one. The Yaya fights, I want to say Yaya pulled on both of those. One of them was like a neck thing. And then
Yaya retired, right?
And then Yaya retired, I think. And then so either Cody's has a shit luck, so he hasn't been able to get any momentum. So this is a fight. This is a momentum builder fight. This is a last chance momentum builder fight for Cody, 100%. So
that's what I'm saying. This is the start of maybe a last run for Cody.
Yeah,
but
he's got. By the way, he's got terrible fucking tattoos that he added. I don't know what the fuck.
I saw he got some face tats.
Like I get it, man. We're tapping on everything else, but goddamn, boy, like you need new friends, Cody. New friends to tell you no. Right.
Also, some more interesting contests, though. We have Tatsuro Taira taking on Amir Albazi. This could be a flyweight main event. I don't know if they're going to put this at an Apex or somewhere, but two grapplers, good stylistic matchup. The submission grappling of Tatsuro Taira versus the ground and pound heavy style of Amir Albazi. I think that's going to be a really interesting one, whether that's on a pay-per-view somewhere down the card or main eventing a fight night card.
Poor Amir Albazi, man, ran into Brandon Moreno at the worst fucking time. God damn, that guy should have already fought for a title. Yeah. Tatsuro Taira, meanwhile, is a lot of fun. I mean, this fight's gonna be great. I mean, especially if it hits the ground. I don't give a shit if anyone. I mean, it's at the Apex, right?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if they've announced.
It's at the Apex.
Apex. Yeah.
So it's an Apex card. So unfortunately, you'll be able to hear all those fucking assholes in the crowd going, "Boo, stand him up." I'm actually go to this card. We'll see. But it's like, "Boo, stand him up." Boo. I hate that shit. That being said, I hope they hit the ground fast.
Yeah, I do too.
Grapple like a motherfucker, dude. That's gonna be fun. Neither one of these guys just lays and prays. They always try to do something, advance, find a submission, find ground and pound. So it's gonna be a fun one for sure. So yeah, I'm cool with this one.
Yeah, I am too. I like that one a lot. I think it's actually a perfect test for Tatsuro Taira. In the middle of the pack guy. He's not somebody who's necessarily going to hurt Taira, like standing on the feet. Going to test him on the ground as well, and also test the takedown defense. How is Tatsuro Taira going to get Amir Albazi to the ground? That's going to be an interesting story in that fight as well. So also we've got Calvin Katara taking on Steve Garcia in a contest. What do you think about that one? Calvin is kind of falling on tough times, and he's another one of these guys like Rob Font that, from the Boston, what did they call themselves over there? The
New England Cartel?
New England Cartel, Mafia or something, I think. But the New England Cartel, those guys have kind of come on some tough times, and they were really, hitting it in about 2021 and Both of those guys are moving up the rankings, but not many new fighters coming from the gym, and they're trying to hang on here in their careers in the back half of their UFC tenures. What do you think about that matchup?
I mean, pretty simple, right? They're giving Cater a chance to stay on the roster. He's got 4 in a row, dude. 4 losses, 4 L's. Yeah. Not good ones either. Not good L's at all. Like the Josh Emmett split, great, but you got your face beat in on that one. And then he injured. I think he tore something in his knee against Arnold Allen, and then lost to Aljamain and lost to Yusuf Zalal. Now, mind you, none of those fights were scrub fights, and I was at the Zalal fight, I think. But none of those fights are scrub fights. I was at the Zalal fight. Yeah. Anyway, but none of those fights were scrub fights at all. Okay.
No,
they were legit fights. Total credit for that shit. That being said, boy, you better be Steve Garcia, man. If you lose to Steve Garcia, he might as well retire. Because Steve Garcia's last 3 were Kyle Nelson, Sung Woo Choi, and Milkaziel Costa. And Costa's good, but come on, dog. That ain't no top 10 guy, right? Yeah. So not yet anyway. So it definitely wasn't back then. So Calvin Kattar's getting a chance to stay on the roster. I'm taking Steve Garcia. I think it's time for it's time for Kattar to go box. He's a boxer. He's not. He's a boxer.
He'd be good in KFC.
He doesn't hit that hard, dog.
I know.
Like
maybe though, like without the hand, the padding of the hands and stuff like that, maybe it'd help him. But you're right, he probably doesn't hit hard.
I hope he does go to BKFC, and then Max Holloway, just to spite him, retires and goes to BKFC, and then I'm the best boxer.
Dude, that was iconic moment for
Kattar doesn't talk shit, right? But when he talks, like sometimes he says wild shit like I'm the best boxer, and I don't think this guy's a freshman, I'm a senior and shit like that. I'm like, first of all, your trash talk is ass. Just a 6-pack of ass. All right. Don't talk shit, Kattar. Just fight, please.
But we do have two more announcements that really play a big factor in the top half of the rankings in each of these divisions. Roman Dolidze is going to be taking on fluffy Anthony Hernandez in the middleweight division. What do you think about this one, Eddie? Another grappling matchup. 2 guys in Roman Dolidze, Sambo specialist, gets the fight to the ground. Big ground and pound. We saw him up at 205. Picked up victories over Anthony Smith before moving back down to 185 pounds. But Fluffy Hernandez is on a roll, man. He's got some of the best jiu-jitsu that we've seen at 185 pounds. Who do you like in this one? My only thing is, how is Hernandez going to get the fight to the ground against a big, strong guy in Roman Dolidze? Will he have to wait for Dolidze to take him down to reverse him with his jiu-jitsu? I don't know how that one's going to work. I think it's one of the more interesting and hard matchups for Anthony Hernandez on this run that he's been on.
I think Fluffy's well-rounded enough to just fight on the feet. I mean, Roman's got power. Don't get me wrong. He can crack and knock you out. Fluffy could take a shot. So I think what's going to happen is they're just going to fight on the feet the whole time until either Roman gets tired or gets knocked down or something, and then Fluffy takes him down. And I don't think we'll see a finish in this one. If we do, whoever gets a finish needs a bonus because both these guys are tough to finish. But But I see Fluffy getting a decision on this one. I just think he's more well-rounded. He's younger. I think he's younger. And I just think it's kind of like one of those, like, it's his time type of deals. And Roman, if Roman picks up a win here, it's big time. But Fluffy wins this one, dude, we're talking, give him the UFC push today.
Yeah, he's one of the hottest prospects at 185 pounds right now. And if he gets a win over Roman Dolidze, you're looking about taking on guys that, are household names. Their middleweight right now is as good of a spot as it's been since Vitor and Bisping and Machida and Silva and all those guys were there. So the middleweight division is certainly lively right now, and that is a interesting contest that will be coming up here in the future. But according to John Anik, the biggest news breaking from last week is a matchup between Bilal Muhammad and Shavkat Rakhmonov that John Anik announced on his podcast. I mean, I don't know how much stock you put into stuff that isn't announced by the UFC. Sometimes they kind of, in spite of these announcements, go a different direction when it's kind of been leaked by people they don't want it to be leaked by. But he is their play-by-play guy, and I'm assuming he's getting good information. What do you make of the Bilal Muhammad-Shavkat match? And it's actually happening sooner than the Chicago card. We were talking a couple weeks ago that we don't know if Bilal would be back for that Chicago card. This one looks like it could be happening even earlier than that, Eddie. What's your opinion on not only the opponent, but how fast Bilal Muhammad's coming back after taking a lot of damage against Jack?
I know it's John Anik. I know it's John Anik and works at the UFC. If anyone's gonna have in on it, it's him. He's also buddies with Bilal Muhammad, like really close friends with Bilal Muhammad. To me, because someone's manager, I don't know whose manager, someone's manager came out and said, "Yeah, it's not happening. That fight's bullshit." 100%. Someone came out and said that shit. Now, someone's manager, I forget which one it was. I'm not gonna lie. I saw it and then it's like, oh, okay, well, whatever. I see there's more of Bilal throwing that out there to see people still give a shit to see him fight Shavkat. I don't give a fuck to see Bilal fight Shavkat. Yeah. I think, and it's not, I mean, whether it's his fault or not that he got injured, I mean, it doesn't matter, right? It's already passed. But I just don't care. Shavkat should be fighting for a title and nothing else. He should not be giving Bilal Muhammad a chance to get back here, to get back in a rematch spot, right? So I think he put that out there, or had John put that out there to gauge interest, because that's what the UFC does.
It's smart. That'd be smart for
100%. But I just don't see. Me personally, I don't care. Now, to do the fight,
it didn't sound like an official announcement, did it?
No, it wasn't an official announcement. Definitely not. But I just don't care. It's not a fight anyone cares about. I want to see Bilal against like the Colbys, against someone that's going to talk shit. No, I mean, not Colby coming. Colby doesn't deserve anything.
What I was thinking of is the winner of Usman Buckley later next month.
I'm good with that.
There's shit talk already between Usman and Bilal Muhammad. Those two guys don't like each other, and Buckley has that competitive edge to him that he's going to talk his piece to regardless of who's in front of him. So I think that would be really interesting if he took on the winner of that contest.
Bilal has plenty to say about both guys. I'm 100% on that plan. So I hope this is bullshit, and I hope he gets the winner of Usman Buckley. And then, I mean, either one of those guys gets the winner over Bilal Muhammad, former champion. Now I know Usman was a long-time champion, but either way, especially if Buckley beats Usman. If Buckley beats Usman, they don't give him a title shot right away, and he gets Bilal next, and he beats Bilal, that's 2 champions in a row.
Yeah,
title shot time.
Exactly. He's undeniable at that point, which kind of leaves Ian Gary out there. Like Chael Sonnen says at third base with a catcher's mitt, but where's he? He was the backup fighter. All these guys are active. He doesn't have a matchup,
Yeah, Ian Gary needs to fight. I don't know if he'll get Michael Morales, because Mike just got the nasty finish over
Burns.
Thank you, Burns. Gilbert Burns. I was gonna say Gabriel Burns. Gilbert Burns. Shout out Gabriel Gonzalez. I was just reading one of his articles. But Gilbert Burns, and that's a big fucking win, 100%. But I still don't think he's gonna get Ian Gary, because Ian Gary is top 5 now. So I think Ian's in a great place to sit down and fucking wait and relax and see how things pan out. See how things work out.
It's kind of weird though, Eddie, because we're right at the same spot that we were before the Shavkat Ian fight, right? Both of them are like, I deserve the title. I deserve the title. And then we had him fight. And then there was like this lull period where we're like, all right, Shavkat's the guy. He gets injured. And now we're right back where we were 2 years ago. So it's kind of confusing situation. But all these guys are great competitors, and we're only going to see great matchups out of it.
It's a good problem to have. Good problem to have.
So fight fans, we're going to take a quick preview and look ahead to UFC 316. We will save our predictions for next week as we gain more info and look at these guys come in on media day and stuff like that. We'll give our official predictions next episode, but we will break down the main card here briefly and kind of get you guys excited for the pay-per-view coming next week. In the main event, we have Merab versus O'Malley 2. Merab is one of the, So here's the thing with Merab to me. His gas tank is unlike anybody I've ever seen, right? And his ability to go for 25 takedowns in a 5-minute fight separates him from almost anybody. It's like Matt Hughes had that kind of relentless approach, but he didn't shoot 25 times, If for someone who's less than 155 pounds, he's got the best gas tank I've ever seen, and he might have the best gas tank in UFC history. So Merab is a stylistic nightmare, in my opinion, for Sean O'Malley, but Sean's made a lot of adjustments. He said he stopped smoking weed, he stopped drinking, he stopped partying. He's kind of dialed in and focused for this matchup coming up with Merab. And I think that, one of the things that people aren't necessarily talking about in this matchup is the coaching battle between Ray Longo and Tim Welch. Now, in their first fight, Tim Welch was warned by Herb Dean immediately when that fight started that he can't bark back and forth to Merab. Do you think there's going to be any gamesmanship again next weekend from the corner of O'Malley, Eddie, or do you think the referees will be, told in the back to, kind of cut that before it starts?
They'll be told. I don't know how much they'll listen. They'll be told. I mean, is what it is.
I feel like they're going to have Herb or Mark or somebody in there with veteran experience, or maybe one of these coaches is going to, try and do something for their fighter to get an edge.
I think you're gonna have to give them like a very strict, like, look, man, if you say a word that isn't to your fighter, we're kicking you out. Mm-hmm. And I think I think Tim Welch would test that. You know what I mean? And then, you know, once Sean O'Malley loses, if Sean O'Malley loses the fight, I think they'll be like, "Whoa, they fucking kicked my head coach out." No, well, no, dude, you were.
Yeah, what do you think of kind of the excuses coming from the camp of O'Malley after the first fight?
Who cares, man? I mean, honestly, like, if him quitting smoking weed and quitting partying and like, focusing on training, that's gonna help you stop 25 takedowns. Great, great. Hey, UFC got everyone in the MMA world. Apparently, that's all it fucking takes to stop a takedown is don't smoke weed and don't party. What the fuck are we talking about, man? What are we talking about? Like O'Malley, if O'Malley comes in healthy, which I believe he might have had an injury in the last fight. I can't remember.
That's what I'm saying. There were so many excuses that were coming from the camp. It's hard to tell what's real and what's not when there's so many of them.
We'll find out. If O'Malley loses this fight, he needs to shut the fuck up and move up to 45 or something. Honestly, right? Now, I like Sean O'Malley. Dude's fun as hell to watch. He's charismatic. I don't really care for the outside bullshit. You know, thinks he's funny and all that. Great. But when he gets in that cage, man, he's fun as hell to watch. 100%.
Yeah. He ends fights violently. Eddie, one of the things that stuck out to me from the first fight is I thought Sean O'Malley, the moment got to him, right? And he's a guy who is and can be a superstar, but he was put on such a big platform there at Noche, so many eyeballs on him in a great venue like that. When he was walking out, he was looking around in the crowd and like taking in the moment. And Merab was dialed in, laser focused, and locked in. So I think there was just a different mindset. And in this one, O'Malley isn't going to be, we're going to be in Newark, New Jersey, obviously. So I don't think there's going to be that same atmosphere of, wow, I can't believe I'm here. This is crazy. I'm headlining this first card at Sphere. This is my event. I think that the head in the clouds situation from O'Malley might lead him to be a little bit more dialed in this one. So I'm interested to see how this goes. But, one more thing. Eddie, what's going on with Merab's toe? I saw a video online. He's always posting these injuries leading up to his fights, like he's fighting injured or something. Is this just gamesmanship, or do you think he actually broke his toe?
I think it matters. I think if he actually broke his toe, he's still a psychopath. He'll still show up. He ain't Conor McGregor. He's like, oh, my pinky toe. You know what I mean? Like, he's a psychopath. He's psycho. Now, I would love for that to be an old video.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I would love if that was real. I would honestly, because that would make me fucking laugh. Because Merab might be the funniest dude on the roster. 100% might be the funniest dude, unintentionally funniest dude on the roster.
You remember he dove into the lake head first and had to get like 70 stitches?
Fucking dumbass. But it was hilarious, right? He's like, you stupid fuck. Like, you would want to be friends with him because he does the dumbest shit when you go out, right? That's what you want. But I think O'Malley lost that fight before he even started. I think
that's what I'm saying. I thought got to move.
Yeah, the moment too. And I get people talking about the environment and all this stuff, the Sphere, blah, blah, this shit, huge event and all stuff. Perilous. Food was twice the size. It was like a balloon. No, I think O'Malley beat himself mentally by knowing he was about to go into against a takedown machine and he couldn't do shit about it. I think that's what happened because he was so. I hate to use the word scared when it comes to fighters, but he was so wary of the takedowns that he didn't even fight like himself, if we're honest, right? And if he was injured, that definitely didn't help. So I want to see O'Malley come in here focused and not nervous about the takedowns. But I feel like it's not going to matter. Personally.
Yeah, you're right. He was kind of tentative of the takedowns in that first fight, and I think it stopped him from throwing with the volume that he normally does in some of those fights. But this is going to be a bantamweight contest that fight fans will remember for a long time, and it's it's going to tell the story of these guys' careers, right? This is the first rivalry Merab's been in since becoming champion, and this is the first time that O'Malley's really had to face some adversity in his own career. So both of these guys, both their careers will be linked together, and it's an interesting matchup coming up next weekend. But moving down the card, we do have another title fight between Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison at 135 pounds for the women's bantamweight title. Juliana Pena, two-time champion. She's beaten Amanda Nunes. She is competitive with everybody. I actually can't wait for the back and forth between these two girls on media day and at the press conference. Juliana is always quick-witted, one of the best female trash talkers that we've seen. And Kayla Harrison has that confidence to her of just success, right? She's the Olympic gold medalist. She's someone who dominated the PFL, put that promotion on her back for countless years. But she did lose before leaving the promotion there. So this is kind of a defining moment for Kayla in her career. Can she get the belt and become the new face of the UFC kind of like how Ronda Rousey did back in the day. We'll see. She just got past Holly Holm, got that finished victory. And, I really do like Kayla Harrison in this one. I don't know if they have the odds out early, but I'm assuming she's a big favorite.
Oh, yeah.
6-1.
Juliana Pena, first of all, studies really well. And she knows her trash talk before she even says it. And then she's good. She's, like you said, she's quick-witted enough to come up with shit on the fly, too. She's really great. Outside the cage. Inside the cage, I'll say it. Lucky as hell against Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes coming off COVID or something like that. Like, nah. Come on, man. Rewatch that first fight, and then compared to the second fight, and tell me that Nunes was okay in that first one, right? So, so you go past that. You got to give Pena her flowers anyway. Still former champion, still current champion, 2-time champion now. I thought Rocky beat her the last fight. Just being honest, it is what it is. But this is gonna be the coronation of Kayla Harrison. I think Kayla Harrison is going to come in and just destroy Pena. Just like that. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Kazangana, you remember that fight? Like, she just ran forward at Rousey, kind of left the skills in the back and went for the finish immediately, and Rousey reversed her and got the submission. I don't know if that'll happen in 14 seconds like it did to Kat, but
I like Kazangana. I thought she was great. She was great. The second she sprinted towards Ronda like that, I couldn't stop laughing. Because I knew two things immediately. One, that was fucking hilarious looking, the way that she was sprinting across, like, yeah, like freaking out, like screaming almost. And Ronda was going to grab her, throw her down, and take her arm home, and she fucking did. And that was the easiest call I ever made in my life. Pena's not that stupid. And she's going to give Kayla, Juliana will give Kayla some fits here and there. It's not going to be a first-round fight, I don't think. I think it'll be a second-round Kayla Harrison submission victory. And to me, it's just the coronation of Kayla Harrison. And that's that. And Juliana's going to say this and that, the other.
I think
whatever.
so, too. You know who Kayla's going to call out if she wins, right? Amanda Nunes will be right there. Those girls have beef. Amanda had to change camps at the end of her career because Kayla was thought of as the next big thing in females MMA. So I think that she calls out Amanda Nunes and kind of tries to stake her claim as, the baddest girl on the block. So
I think that's the plan. I think Kayla Harrison wins. I think Amanda Nunes is waiting. I think Amanda Nunes will only come, in my opinion, she'll only come back if Kayla wins. If Kayla loses, forget about Amanda Nunes coming back. There's no reason to. No point. She already beat the shit out of Juliana Pena. She beat the snot out of everybody else. The fight we all want to see is her against Kayla. Who is going to take that one? And that's a fight where I'm going to be like, dude, I don't know who the fuck's going to win that. That's wild.
Yeah, that'd be one of the biggest fights in the history of females or women's MMA. It's Nunes Cyborg and that, and Harrison and Nunes potentially. But one more fight here before we leave you guys tonight, and we'll break down all these fights in depth next week. But we do have Patchy. We do have Patchy Mix making his debut this weekend or next weekend against Mario Batista. Batista got that win over Jose Aldo that a lot of people had problems with. The fight fans, in combat sports, fans kind of got on him on Twitter, on Instagram, didn't like how he performed in that one. He's facing a world-class finisher in Patchy Mix, right? This guy can finish fights standing. Ask Rufion Stotts. He can also finish fights on the ground, and I believe he's got over 15 submission wins on his record. So Patchy Mix is as good as they come. Trains at a great gym over there at Extreme Couture, but what do you think about Mario Batista? Do you think that I don't see a path to victory for him in this one? He's not going to be able to finish the fight standing against Patchy. And if he takes this to the ground, it's not like it's Jose Aldo and he's going to just accept a cage control. Patchy Mix is going to take your neck. Magomedov tried that a couple times and was unsuccessful. But one of the things for Mario Batista, though, is in that rematch with Magomedov, Patchy Mix looked human for the first time, right? So it's interesting to me how he looks in his UFC debut. I think he's going to put on a great performance here and make a statement. That's just kind of who Patchy is. He's going to want to be a known guy. His girlfriend or wife, Tatiana Suarez, is on her way to a title shot as well. And I'm sure he's going to want to keep things rolling in the right direction. I think Patchy Mix is going to get this one done by finish. I don't see a path to victory for Batista.
I think Batista's going to put himself in a spot where he gets finished. I don't think it's going to be Patchy really grabbing it or finding it. I think it's going to be more like Batista going in, putting him on the fence, trying to get something, and Patchy will get like a ninja choke or some shit. But dude, being at the Apex last week, we saw him walk in through the door. When I saw Patchy Mix walking in, I'm like, Tatiana ain't fighting tonight. The fuck is going on? We got word not long after that, some of us did, that they were going to announce Patchy and Mario after the Sadiq fight, right? So I was like, waiting. I'm like, sweet, let's fucking get this done. Let's go. And yeah, they get the camera on him, and right there, boom, breaking news. Patchy is signed with the PFL, or with the PFL. Jesus, thank God he's not with the PFL. Patchy is signed with the UFC, and will fight Mario Bautista. Mind you, Mario couldn't get a damn fight. No one wants to fight him after that shit he pulled against Aldo. You know what I mean? And not because it was not because he's scary, but because everyone was like, fuck that. Like, I don't want to fight you. You're going to fucking, play wet blanket me to death. No, I don't want to do that. Patchy Mix ain't afraid of shit. Patchy be like, what blanket me, motherfucker? I'll catch you on some shit. It's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for it. And honestly, about damn time Patchy got here. Jesus, UFC, y'all waited long enough, man.
I like it because when we get these Bellator guys, Aaron Pico's another one. We'll get to see his prime. But we've gotten Pitbull past his prime. We've gotten Chandler past his prime. Eddie Alvarez still had some good years left when he came over, still had some juice left in the tank. But I don't know, with some of these guys coming over like Pitbull and Michael Chandler, it's different than Patchy Mix and Aaron Pico, in my opinion, because they've got a lot of life left in them in this fight game.
Yeah, and they're legit. Michael Chandler won 2 fights, 1 fight in the UFC so far. One over Dan Hooker and 1 over Tony Ferguson. There you go. That's all I have to say about fucking Michael Chandler. No offense, Mike. I'm just overrated. But Patchy's legit. Aaron Pico took the Mauser fight. Holy shit! I know that's. Tell me great, how much of a bad motherfucker is Aaron Pico? Is like, yeah, sign me up, and I'll take your that guy that keeps bitching about title shot. Give me him. I'll take him. I'm gonna take his title shot. He's gonna be so much bigger than Mosvar on fight night too. That's gonna be interesting. That's the interesting part. Those weight cuts suck for Pico, but that fight's got to be like third to last fight on that card, right? Maybe right before the co-main. It's got to be right before the co-main, and that's plenty of time for Pico to recover. So, I'm excited as fuck for Aaron Pico and Patchy in this UFC now. Yep, it's a great time to be a fight fan. We get through this one this weekend, guys, and got a great schedule ahead of us for the rest of 2025. Let's look at the schedule real fast since we got just a couple minutes. Yeah. So Barbara Blanchard this weekend, O'Malley Dvalishvili next weekend. June 14th is Usman Buckley in Atlanta. Hill Roundtree June 21st in Azerbaijan. Dude, look at this. Dude, look at the fuck this card. This nasty card, forget it. But then look at this one. Look at this one right here, bro. Holloway Poirier 3. I don't care what anyone says. We don't see it again. I don't give a fuck. These two are bad motherfuckers. They're gonna scrap and they're gonna pack that card too. Whitaker DeRitter, dude. Come on, fucking Chimaev. The UFC is probably sick and tired of hearing people bitch about how shitty the product is. They're like, all right, motherfuckers. Second half of 2025. Hang on to your fucking butts, dude. It's going down. I can't wait, honestly. It's going to be dope. Them, and then LFA's. I know a lot of people don't watch LFA. If you don't watch LFA, fucking start, okay? They just got Le'Veon Douglas over the Dana White Contender Series. If you haven't watched Le'Veon Douglas fight, Google, YouTube the motherfucker, all right? Please. Le'Veon is the guy that you want to bring in because he ain't trying to hug you. He ain't trying to pepper you. He's trying to break your fucking face on every punch. It's going to be dope. LFA has all kinds of events. Honestly, I get it. Everyone wants to watch the flashy shit. If you get tired of the UFC, Friday nights, man, LFA. Yeah, last week we didn't have anything, and the only thing really to watch, there was CFFC grappling. I actually watched a grappling match we can talk about for a minute between Chris Weidman and Pat Downey. If you remember, Who won? I missed that one. Who won that? Pat won, and it was interesting too because Chris came out and he actually tripped Pat because Pat was coming kind of. He's a bigger guy, right? So they got into the clinch, and he's trying to bully him, push Chris back to the boundary. And Chris kind of tripped him, and it wasn't a takedown, but he scrambled to his feet, right? They went to overtime, and then Pat got him in in a body lock and almost just overpowered him basically and got him to the ground for the win in the overtime period. I didn't realize that you could win a jiu-jitsu match by it getting a takedown, though. It depends if it went to points. If it went to overtime, if they ran out of time and went to overtime. So, like I said, I didn't watch it, so I don't know the CFFC rules. But I know in the tournaments that I've competed in, if you run out of time and you get to overtime, a lot of times it's first points, right? Yeah, that's what it was. And a takedown's 2 points. Secure takedown, game's over. And I've won a couple of those like that. Not the most fun way to win, but still, it worked out. The only reason I don't really care for Pat Downey is because he no-showed an event here and 100 miles down south in Tucson. But he no-showed an event that he had been talking mad shit about. He just no-showed it. No-showed, didn't bother. It was weird as hell, but that bugged me a lot. Seems like he's kind of turning the corner, though. He's getting over.
I'll be out front and honest. I was the first MMA event I ever covered was Stotts versus Sabatello, and he fought Christian Eccles on the undercard of that fight, and was a 28-1 favorite. 28-1, no bullshit. It was at the Mohegan Sun at the betting window, minus 2,800 is what this kid was, right? Mm-hmm. A guy who was trying to get on the Olympic wrestling team, was at the Olympic trials. I think he might have actually won a Pan Am Games in wrestling. So he was really a highly touted prospect, and he got knocked out by a guy in Christian Eccles who is he's a journeyman, and he's a good fighter. He's a recovering drug addict who is gotten his life back together through the sport of mixed martial arts and built something out of himself. And his biggest win of his career so far was against Pat Downey, but Pat lost that fight and it was devastating. And one of the things that stuck out to me, like you're talking about his mentality, he was smoking weed with Luis Pena at the Fighter Hotel, either the day of or the night before. And when I saw Luis Pena was in his corner, it's kind of like the saying, the company you keep is kind of a reflection of you. So I don't think he's necessarily around those guys anymore. It seems like he's kind of is humbled and has his head on his shoulders. In this one, John Morgan asked him after defeating Chris Weidman this weekend if he would, what the plan is. And he said he just wants to focus on jiu-jitsu. I don't necessarily think he's jumping in there to get back in the MMA cage anytime soon, but maybe it left a bad taste in his mouth. But he certainly looks like a good jiu-jitsu prospect. I don't know necessarily where he ranks in terms of like Gordon Ryan and those guys, but certainly a good wrestler who's transitioned over.
Yeah, look, man, I'm when you get older, whether you like it or not, you mature at least a little bit just off of age, dog. So I'm glad he's doing all right now. But whatever, man. I don't know. Fuck. I don't care. Chris Weidman's old as shit. He needs to go home.
I know. And they were asking him, Chris, is this it? Because it was kind of like built up as the.
No, he's not. Because Chris Weidman's a lunatic. I like this rap.
He's like, I hung in there with that young buck.
Chris Weidman's a psychopath. That's why that's why he beat Anderson Silva, because he don't give a shit. He don't know. Look, and this is way back then. But I remember after you knocked out Anderson Silva, everyone was like, "Oh, he's so good." But I'm like, nah. I just think Chris Weidman doesn't know any better than to beat Anderson Silva, because everyone else mind fucked themselves before the fight. Chris Weidman went in there thinking he's actually going to win.
He's stubborn.
He was like, let's go in, man. He didn't even think about it. I almost think like he's such a meathead, blockhead, that he didn't even realize he was fighting Anderson Silva. And he's like, fuck him. Bow.
I think you're kind of right, but he's also got Ray in his corner, right? And I talk about Ray all the time. I think
Ray's his fucking chest.
Exactly. And Ray's had these upsets, right? Marab over O'Malley, Sarah over GSP. He's, in my opinion, Ray Longo should be the first coach that's inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame once he retires. But
not against it at all.
Yeah, I think that would be a fitting end to the career for him. But he's got a title fight not only in a week from now. So he's still in the prime of his coaching career. Fight fans, we're going to break down that UFC 316 card for you guys next week. We'll also bring any breaking news that we get from over the weekend. And we will recap the fights from Blanchfield and Macy Barber's fight night at the Apex. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next Wednesday.